Alternate title for this episode, Freaky Jerrick. You're right, Jerrick Trap is better. So the cold open for this episode was honestly incredible. I watched it early on Adult Swim's YouTube channel, and it got me properly hyped for this one. So in this episode, the Jerrick Trap, Rick and Jerry swap bodies. Well, not really. They get scrambled. So part of Rick's brain is in Jerry's head, and part of Jerry's brain is in Rick's head. So they're both kind of Rick, kind of Jerry. And God, what a genius concept for an episode. I'm sure the idea of a Rick x Jerry body swap episode has been drifting around the writer's room for a while, and I think what we got is honestly the best they could have done with that idea. Because in the cold open, they shuffle minds, and it just so happens that while this was going down, Morty was apprehended while running an errand by this alien crime lord's henchman. But when he's brought to the crime lord, the henchman gets slapped, and the guy's like, "What the fuck are you doing? This is Morty Smith. He hangs out with Rick Sanchez. You've doomed us all." And it's honestly, it's such a good character dynamic. This episode, more than any other, just writes itself. Seriously. Because now Rick and Jerry have to team up to save Morty, and then of course they end up becoming best friends. And the whole thing spirals out of control. It's fantastic. I think it's really interesting. In the behind the scenes clip for this episode, the writers would refer to Rick as Rick Body and to Jerry as Jerry Body, because they're not individuals anymore. They're both sort of the same, which is a really weird thing to do, but it's also cool. The voice actors definitely had fun with this one.
Car, electrocute Jerry if he gets in the front seat.
Car, engage castration protocol right now!
You know, it's totally in Rick's character to get so upset about someone questioning his intelligence, because you gotta remember, last time that happened, Rick made them suffer.
Every Rick has a vat!
I even like the B story, if you can call it a B story. This mafia boss character freaking the fuck out because he knows Morty hangs out with Rick is a window into the perspective of every character in this universe who isn't a Smith. He knows he's about to get his ass kicked. And it's honestly hilarious watching this typically stoic character who's got their shit together just completely lose his mind. And Morty's immediate idea to take advantage of the situation for a milkshake is also really in line for his character.
My milkshake is empty! Okay.
Seriously, this episode writes itself. The characters are so fun to watch. The writing is so natural. I could swear that this is just the voice actors just having a day off, and they just captured some random argument. I don't know, it's awesome. The real standout element of this one though was the comedic timing. The comedic timing in this episode was completely locked down. Rick Body gets to where Morty is, and he introduces Jerry Body, and the first thing he says about him is that he's gay.
This is my assassin, deadliest man in the galaxy, and he's gay.
Why am I gay?
Whoa.
That is hilarious. Look, I can't believe that one got past S&P. Rick and Morty in their episodes tends to do a lot of meta complaining about S&P being on their back. Remember the train episode, the story train? That was one of the main things it was getting at. They're on too much of a leash. And I can't believe the, calling someone gay remark with even the slightest hint of undertones of it being in a negative way. Can't believe that made it into the episode, but the comedic timing is just so good. Because of course Jerry just gets pissed off immediately. He's like, what? Why am I the gay one? It's so good. I think it got past S&P because when he says this, the Mafia reacts in a comedically super positive way.
It's a spectrum.
Which is true. Conehead Rick was also hilarious. Hilarious reference, that's a weird ass movie, but of course Rick and Jerry would share in something old like that. But honestly, I just loved when Rick and Jerry finally got together and cooperated. And it was totally believable. That's what was so special and what made this episode really work. The writers didn't have to force them working together. They have the exact same mind. So now they think the exact same ways, even if they have different personalities. They process information the same way, if that makes sense. So naturally, they're gonna have a really good dynamic and bounce off each other incredibly well, because great minds think alike, literally. And at the end, the reveal of Jerrick, that was a fucking riot. Their design is incredible. They look like the aliens here. And the fact that he is ultimately defeated by stepping on a rake, like some Tom and Jerry ass resolution. And it's also something that Jerry would do. That's perfect irony. They've both essentially become the better Rick when they form Jerrick, and they're defeated by doing something that Jerry would have done. stepping on a fucking rake. And I gotta give props to the animation department on this one too. The way that moment is queued up is really great for dramatic timing and comedic timing, because first they're holding it, then they drop it out of shot, and then like 20 seconds later, after you've forgotten about it, he takes a step forward and it slams into his noses. That was great. And that leads into the realization for us, the audience, that Memory Rick is still in Rick's head. From the Rick Shine, what's it? Rick Turno, Sunshine of the Spotless Mort, right. God damn these episode titles. But it was nice to see him again, and you know what? That's what Rick and Morty should keep doing. Because everyone knows they've been complaining about serialization. Fine, completely justified. If the writers don't want to do serialization, then I'm for it if they think they can make a better show without doing it. Fine, I prefer it myself, but if you don't, totally cool with that. So, as a compromise from the writers to the audience, I think that they shouldn't have serialized drama, but serialized, I don't know, maybe cameos or just little details. You know, seeing Memory Rick here is not going to come back in the future. I think that's pretty well established, going by Rick and Morty's, I don't know, established rules for canon. This is just a one-off thing. But it's still satisfying for the fans because it's stringing things together through minor callbacks. It's not serialization, it completely fits into a one-off episode, but it still rewards the audience who's paying attention. It's a win-win for everyone, and I think Rick and Morty should keep pulling stuff like this. What could another one be? Maybe don't do Incest Baby. They tried to do that with Incest Baby, and God, they need to... No, not that one. I don't know, have the president talk about lightsabers again, or... I don't know. Have a little Gotron in the back of a... You know, I'm picking, like, all of the worst episodes to call back to. Maybe not. I don't know, maybe have a clone family from Mortyplicity that didn't die, or something like that. It's not true serialization, it's not gonna matter, but it's just a nice callback. So in the end, guys, this episode was phenomenal. I didn't want to spoil too much of it because you should really go watch it yourself. All of the jokes, they just hit. I've played a few of them in this video, but really, the whole experience, I genuinely think it was the best episode we've had since Solarix, or maybe even further back. But that was my opinion. What did you guys think of this episode? I've read every comment on that last video, and there seems to be a mostly negative reception to that first episode. Understandable. So if you didn't like the Mr. Poopy Butthole focused episode, was this one better? I mean, for me it was, but I want to know what you guys think. So that's all for this week. Be back next week with that President episode. My name is Candles. See you later.